if you were not here last week, you have heard stories from the Bible where you might know what's going on in this picture. Okay, so has everybody seen the picture? Right, now, I have a question. Who can tell me what city this is near? What's the name of the city that this picture is near? Let's try somebody who wasn't here last week. Star? You're Max. Star? You know what city this is near? No? Okay. Joe, did Jayla help you out? Did she? Okay. Max, you weren't here. Carlos, you weren't here last week, were you? You were here? Was Max here with you? Okay. What city is it? You guys that were here, what city is this? Go ahead and say it. Judah? It's the city of Jerusalem, which is in, Jerusalem is in Judah. That's right. Okay, so this is the city, this is near the city of Jerusalem. Who is this man riding on the donkey? Who is the man riding on the donkey? I'm going to give you a hint. His name is one of the books of the Bible. His name is one of the books of the Bible. Max, do you think you know? One of the books of the Bible. That's right. Which book of the Bible is his name? Okay, Astrid, you weren't here last week, were you? John? It is not John, but that is one of the books of the Bible. And you want to try? Jude? That is one of the books of the Bible, but that is not who this man is. Okay, Carlos? King Saul. Saul is not even one of the books of the Bible, and this is not King Saul. Jacori. Ezra. Ezra is the name of the book of the Bible, and Ezra lived at the same time as this man, but this is not Ezra. First and Second Chronicles, Ezra. Abby? Nehemiah. That's right. Right. This is Nehemiah. And Nehemiah is here around Jerusalem. Now, everybody, I think, could tell this. What's wrong? What's wrong with this city? What's wrong with this picture? Sorry, you can tell just by looking at it. What's wrong with this picture? It's destroyed. These walls, these are supposed to be walls. They don't look like very good walls, though, do they? They are broken down. You could kind of walk right through those walls, and only Christian scientists can do that. So, anyway, so we have these walls that are broken down around Jerusalem, and we have Nehemiah. Why are the walls broken down? Why are Jerusalem's walls broken down? Or you can either tell me why, or if you know, you can tell me who broke the walls of Jerusalem down. Maddie? Very close. The king of Babylon. I think the king of Babylon came, sent his armies, and burnt the city up and broke down the walls. And now the last question, why is Nehemiah here right now? Why is Nehemiah here in this picture right now? Jayla? He's going to help them rebuild the city. Right. Now, how is it that Nehemiah was able to go there and help them rebuild the city? Who did Nehemiah work for? Maddie? Kind of. It was a later king. But the king that was over the whole empire, Nehemiah worked for him, and he just sent Nehemiah there and told him that he could rebuild the walls. How did that happen? Who made it so that the king would send Nehemiah to help them rebuild their walls? This is the easy question. Who made it so that the king would send Nehemiah to help them rebuild their walls? Somebody made that happen. Astrid. God made that. And because God did that and a lot of other things, that reminds us that God is, what's the big word? What is God that we're learning about for the last 3 weeks and today? God is, starts with an S. God is not salvation. Sovereign, right? God is sovereign. Now that's a big word, and we don't go around in school even talking about sovereign. Yeah, we don't know what that means, do we? Or do we know what that means? What does God as sovereign mean? That means what? God is always in complete control of everything, everywhere. Right here. These are, we've been practicing, and you came today to catch up. So let's try that once more. God is always in complete control of everything, everywhere. That's what it means when we say God is sovereign. So, the people of Israel, when Nehemiah talked to them, they were excited. They wanted to have the walls of Jerusalem built again, and so Nehemiah put them all in different groups. Here they are working on the walls of Jerusalem, and these people that lived together, they would work on the wall from the corner to the middle, and then the next people that lived kind of close to the next section, they would get together and they would work from the middle to a little bit farther down, and then another group of people would take it from that spot and go around the corner with the big tower, and they were just working all the way around the city of Jerusalem. Everybody was in their special group. Now, there'd probably be more than are in this room in one group, but we can just imagine that there was 20 or 30 or 100 people in one group working on one section, and then another group in another section. So all the walls of Jerusalem, all the way around the whole city, there was people working on those walls. Now, what they had to do, where did they get the stones for the walls? I don't know. Does it show you? It doesn't show you. It doesn't show you there either. What had happened to the walls before? What had the king done? He destroyed them. Well, they were made out of stone, so what did he do? He just broke them down. So outside the city, inside the city, there's these big rocks. That was part of the wall. And so they had to get those rocks, they had to pick up the garbage and all the rubble and the rubbish, and they started working on those walls. And the people were excited. They were really happy that now the city of Jerusalem, the walls would be rebuilt, and once the walls would be rebuilt, everybody inside would be safe, right? They would be safe, and it would be really, really good. They were so happy that God had sent Nehemiah to help them rebuild the walls. But I got a question for you, and when I ask the question, you're going to know what the answer is, just as soon as I ask the question, so everybody listen. Do you think that everybody in Judea and around Jerusalem was happy that they were rebuilding the walls? Was everybody happy about that?
No.
No. Not everybody was happy. Now this is the hard question. Can anybody remember the type of people or the names of some people that might have been upset about the Jewish people rebuilding the walls of their city? Corey, do you remember? Well, no, it was the Israelites. The Israelites were the ones rebuilding the city. Okay, so it's not the Israelites. There's some other people that live around there. They did not like it. They didn't like it when Zerubbabel and them were rebuilding the temple. Remember way back? They didn't like that. They came and said, "We want to help you." And the man in charge had to say, "No, you're not with us. You can't help us." You remember who those people were? Does anybody? Jayla, do you think you remember? The Persians? No. The Persians are the people all the way back here. King Artaxerxes and King Ahasuerus and King Darius and King Cyrus. Those are all the Persians, and those kings sent them and allowed them to come back. There's some people that live in Palestine. Nobody's remembering their names. but we would know their names because we hear a fair amount in the New Testament. They were the Samaritans. The Samaritans, the people around them, the Samaritans, they did not like it that Jerusalem was being rebuilt. And there was two men who were kind of in charge, or they were leaders of some of the Samaritans. One's name was Sanballat, and the other was Tobiah. Sanballat and Tobiah, they were leaders of the Samaritans, and they did not like it that the Israelites were rebuilding their wall. So they determined that they were going to make it stop. One way or another, they were going to try to make them stop. Now, one of the things they did, they came up, and the people were working there, and they started making fun of them. They just laughed, and they said, look at these Israelites, they're building the wall. You think you're going to be able to just rebuild the wall in one day? You know, even if a little fox walked on top of their wall, those stones would just fall right over. They were making fun of what they were doing. Has anybody ever made fun of you? No? Yeah? You were doing something and people made fun of it. What happens when people make fun of it? Make fun of you? You get sad, you think, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Or maybe you get angry. Right? But whatever it is, sometimes it can make us not do what we're supposed to do. Has anybody ever made fun of you for coming to Bible club or for going to church? No? Well, that's good. But sometimes people do. They hear that you go to Fairhaven Baptist Church, or they hear that you go to some other church, and they say, church is for people that they don't know nothing. Only dumb people go to church or something. They make up something that's not true, right? And they make fun. And we don't like that. Well, that's what they tried to do with the people of Israel. And what do you think Nehemiah did? What do you think Nehemiah did when he heard them making fun of him? How did you know that? He did. He prayed. Why do you think Nehemiah prayed? Nehemiah prayed almost all the time, right? As soon as he heard that the walls were broken down from his brother, he prayed. When the king asked him what to do, right there, silently, he prayed, and then he talked to the king, right? Nehemiah prayed almost all the time. And when the people made fun, Mike, got the right picture? Yeah. When they made fun of him, he prayed. And he encouraged the people that were on the wall. Then, so Sanballat and Tobiah, they said, well, that didn't work. Here's what we're going to do. They got their soldiers, and they said, listen, guys, we're going to act like we don't have weapons or anything. We're just going to kind of mingle in the middle of all the people, kind of talk to them about what they're doing, and at a certain signal, we're going to pull out our swords and we're going to kill some of them. That'll confuse them, and then they'll stop building this wall around Jerusalem. Well, that would have been trouble, wouldn't it? But you know what happened? Somehow, Nehemiah found out about their plan. I wonder how Nehemiah found out about their plan. Who made sure that Nehemiah found out about their plan? Who do you think? God, right? How could God make sure that Nehemiah found out? Now, he might have used this man or that man or somebody else, but how could God do that? He's in complete control of everything, everywhere, right? So somehow God made it so Nehemiah knew, and Nehemiah told the people, he said, now, we have found out that Sanballat and Tobiah, they want to fight against us. And here's what we're going to do. Every one of you is going to put your sword on your side and your tools in this one hand, so that we are always ready. We will be working with one hand, and we have our sword on our side, so that we're ready. And it's a huge city. There's lots of walls all the way around, and we don't know where they might come and fight against us. So whenever the attack comes, the trumpeter will blow there. And when you hear the trumpet sound, if you hear the trumpet sound, you put down your tools, you grab your sword, and you go over to where the trumpet is, and we'll fight against them. And so Sanballat and Tobiah found out that Nehemiah found out about their plan, and they decided, if they're going to fight back, we don't want to fight against them. They decided they weren't going to do that. So Sanballat and Tobiah, first they tried to make fun of them, right? Then they tried to fight against them. Then they thought, here's what we'll do. we'll talk to Nehemiah. We'll try to get Nehemiah away from the rest of them. He wrote a letter. He said, Nehemiah, we should try to talk about our differences. Why don't you come out here, way over here out in the countryside, and we can meet where there's nobody else around, and we'll talk about our differences. Wow. What? It doesn't sound like a good plan, does it? Nehemiah go off by himself and talk to the enemies? That wouldn't work. They would probably kill him or something like that. Nehemiah, he's got a brain in his head. And he said, no, I can't do that. I can't go out there. I'm not going to do that. And Sanballat tried 4 more times. He wrote 4 times. He said, come on out here and let's talk. And Nehemiah said, no. He's tried to distract him, get him away from the work. Finally, that didn't work. So, Sanballat wrote a letter to the people of Jerusalem. And they came and they brought the letter and they read it out loud so everybody would hear. It says, we have heard and we know that Nehemiah is building these walls so that he can be a king and so that Jerusalem can rebel against the kings of Persia and put us in subjection and all these things. And what was that? What were those? Lies. Those were lies. The people that don't want you to do what's right, there's lots of things they might do. They might make fun of you. They might fight against you. They might distract you, get you to do something that you shouldn't do. And they might even lie about you, right? Just like these people did about Nehemiah and the work there. Who's behind all that? Whose idea is it to make fun and to fight and to distract and to lie? Whose idea is that? Huh? Whose ideas are those? The devil, right? The devil is behind that. He doesn't want us, if we're Christians, to do what God wants us to do. But God helped Nehemiah and gave Nehemiah wisdom and showed him things and it made sure that the walls, they didn't stop working on the walls, they kept working on them and they kept working on them, and Nehemiah didn't go off and do those things, he didn't get distracted, he didn't let those lies stop him, he fought back, or he was ready to fight back, all of those things. And you know what happened? It didn't take very long. In fact, it was a really, really short number of days. In 52 days, that's less than 2 months, the walls of Jerusalem were completely finished. God helped them. God gave them strength. God gave them wisdom. God showed them which rocks would be the best rocks to put in the wall at the right time. How could God do that? How could God help them like that? He's sovereign, right? He's sovereign. And He is in complete control of everything, everywhere. He's always, we forgot that word, right? He's always in complete control of everything, everywhere. And so the people were super excited. They were very excited, and they were celebrating and praising the Lord for the help that He gave them. And they had their walls completely finished, and they had the gates in the walls, the wooden gates that they could open and close, and they were protected then. And toward the end of the time, they came to Ezra. Remember I said Ezra and Nehemiah lived at the same time? Yeah, Nehemiah helped them build the walls, and Ezra was a priest and a teacher. And they came to Ezra and they said, we want you to teach us and read to us out of the law. And they all gathered together, they finished them, they all gathered together in a big street, and they stood there, and Ezra got up on a big, like a platform, a pulpit where he was up above them, and he got the Word of God out, and he started to read the Bible to them. And the people were excited, and they were glad. And then they started to get sad, because they realized that some of the things that Ezra was saying, they hadn't been doing. But God, through Nehemiah and Ezra, told them that they should today, that day that when Ezra was reading, that they should be thankful and praise God. And they even gave gifts to one another because they were so happy about what God had done. Then they came back to Ezra and he continued to teach them, and they made a covenant. That's a big fancy word that means promise. They even wrote it in a book. They promised and they wrote it down in a book that God with their lives, that they wouldn't worship idols, that they would always be faithful to the temple and the things that God had told them to do, and His Word. They promised those things, and Ezra helped them to understand what it was that they should do. Now this, how they were, they promised that they would be faithful to God. Now, God worked all that stuff out, didn't He? Because He's always in control, capable of everything, everywhere. Now, we need to just review. Zerubbabel, that's a big name. He came and he helped them build the temple. Okay? And things went back and forth. They wrote letters back and forth, and it took them a long time, but finally got the temple started. But the people of Israel, they forsook God. Remember? The little sin that goes along the way that ends up being terrible. Ezra came and found out that they had married heathen women. Then they turned back to God to do what He wanted, and God sent them Nehemiah to help them build their walls up. And God worked all that out for them to be in the land of Israel that He had promised them all along. All right, and God was able to do that because He's God. And part of being God means that He's sovereign. And that means what? God is sovereign. So we're going to put this together. God is sovereign. So that means God is always in complete control